You ever overhear something that shatters every piece of your heart, yet forces you to smile like nothing happened? That's what happened to me. One evening, I heard my wife's voice, soft, laughing, and the words that followed turned my world into ashes. "He's just a replacement," she said. "When Nick returns, I'll leave him." She had no idea I was standing right behind the door, hearing every word. But she also had no idea that the man she called a replacement had already started writing her downfall. My name is Daniel, and this is the story of how her betrayal built my revenge. When I met Laura, I was at my lowest. My previous relationship had ended painfully, my career was struggling, and she came into my life like sunshine after a storm. She made me believe in love again. We got married after 2 years, and I thought we were perfect. But I started noticing small cracks. Her late night calls with friends, the sudden shift in how she dressed, how her phone was always face down. Still, I trusted her. I didn't want to be the jealous husband. Then, one night, everything changed. I'd come home early from a business trip. As I walked up the stairs, I heard her on the phone. She was laughing, carefree, saying things like, "No, he doesn't suspect anything. He's sweet, but not you. He's just a replacement till you're back, Nick." I froze. My heart sank so deep it hurt to breathe. I wanted to burst into the room, scream, demand answers, but I didn't. Instead, I quietly stepped back down the stairs. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat there, staring at the dark ceiling, realizing I'd been living a lie. But instead of anger, something colder grew inside me: clarity. She thought I was weak, replaceable, disposable. I was going to show her what happens when you underestimate someone who's been silent too long. The next morning, I acted normal, smiled, kissed her forehead, made her breakfast. She looked at me suspiciously, but I played my part perfectly. For weeks, I acted like the same loving husband while carefully building my plan. First, I went to my lawyer. I discovered most of our shared assets. Our house, our investments were legally under my name. She never cared about the paperwork, assuming everything we had was automatically ours. That mistake would cost her everything. Next, I started gathering evidence: messages, call logs, her travel receipts. I didn't want revenge that came from shouting. I wanted the kind that destroyed her foundation quietly, legally, and completely. Then I found out who Nick was: an ex boyfriend who had moved abroad for work. I dug deeper. He wasn't coming back soon. That gave me time to turn the tables. A month later, Laura told me she needed a break, pretending to be emotionally drained. I smiled and said, "Take all the time you need. You deserve to be happy." That evening, I packed my essentials, drove to my friend's place, and let my lawyer file the papers. Divorce, with all the evidence attached. 2 days later, Laura came home to find me gone and a legal notice on the table. She called me immediately, crying. "Daniel, what is this? You can't just—" I interrupted calmly. "You said I was just a replacement, remember? Well, the replacement just replaced you." I hung up. Her world began to crumble fast. She tried to fight the divorce, but lost everything. I had the proof, the assets, and most importantly, the truth. She left our house in tears, with nothing but regret and a few suitcases. But the story didn't end there. 3 months later, I heard that Nick had finally returned. Laura had been waiting for him, certain he'd take her back. But when she met him, he said something she didn't expect. "You left someone who truly loved you for me? If you could do that once, you'd do it again. I don't want that kind of woman." He walked away, leaving her standing alone, shattered. A week later, I got an email from her. No anger, no excuses, just a single line: "You were never the replacement. I was." That message hit me harder than I expected, but by then I had healed. I had rebuilt my life, my company, and my peace. Her regret didn't satisfy me. It reminded me how fragile fake love really is. Sometimes revenge isn't about screaming, shouting, or fighting. It's about walking away so quietly that the person who broke you ends up destroyed by their own reflection. Now, whenever I think of her words, "He's just a replacement," I smile, because in trying to replace me, she replaced her happiness with misery. And me, I found freedom. If you like the video, please subscribe and turn on notifications.